Hello everyone, this tutorial is about subdivisions and how you could take a low poly model to high poly. So here I have an old project that we did with a lathe. So subdivisions are effectively over here. If you have edit poly at the bottommost layer in your stack, there's going to be a rollout called subdivision surface. And so there's an option here called use NURMS subdivision. That's non-uniform rational mesh smooth. So if I turn this on, you're going to see the model changes. So let's zoom up here to the top and take a look. Right here, from a distance it looks smooth, but as we zoom in we see it is faceted. But when I turn on NURMS, you see that it's smooth. So what it's doing is it's smoothing out between the different points. Right? So in order to avoid kind of the mushiness that happens down here, we need to go into our model and we need to add extra edges. So I'm going to come in here into Polygon. I'm going to look for a tool under Edit called Swift Loop. Oops. So I'm going to come here to Edit. I'm just going to click and drag that out so it's kind of floating. So Swift Loop, right here, it's going to place edges. So if I turn this on, you can see it's going to add the edge. If I click, it adds edges there. And then come down, I can add edges right here. I right click to get out of that. Now when I turn on NURMS, you see how it preserves that shape. Right? Because I'm going in and I'm defining that point down there. So same thing if I come down here to the bottom, it gets really mushy down here. I can turn on my Swift Loop. I can define this bottom edge. I'm going to find the edge right around the corner. There we go. So Swift Loop is doing the same thing as if we were grabbing an edge, selecting ring, and connecting it, and then using the slide tool, or the slide option. Right? So Swift Loop under editing allows us to go in and do that, perform that action a lot quicker. And where you want to place your edges are going to be right where you have intersections. So some spots aren't going to be that easy to work with. So let's look at the top. You're not going to be able to get a loop on the very top because it's one giant polygon. Notice I can still work while I am in NURMS mode. So if I wanted to preserve the top of this a little bit, I could take this and just do a slight inset on it. So you can see here's where the points are that it's rounding out from. So if I adjust it a little bit, there you go, you can see where the points are. So in previous tutorials I talked a little bit about optimization, right? And so if you went and optimized the top of this, you wouldn't end up with those weird spikes. So let's take a look. I'm going to come over here to the side. I'm going to make a box. I'm just going to convert this to an editable poly. And now an editable poly, if I turn on NURMS, see this thing just completely scrunches down, right? It's the same as if, it's very similar, I should say, if I went in and made a rectangle. And if I put an edit spline on here, go into vertex mode, and convert these into smooth points. You see how it smooths out around them? Now on our model, again, if we go in and we just kind of work to subdivide it down, see, you can see the orange mesh where it actually is, and now it's rendering because it's using NURMS. If I come in and use Swift Loop, I can come in and I could start to define these edges over here to get it to keep its shape. Alright, see how I'm just adding these low edges in on the model, and now it's starting to hold up its shape. Alright, so I've gone in and I've kind of defined the edges, and so now between these 2 points, the third one gets rounded out. And that's how we start to take our low poly models and turn them into high poly models. So I'm going to make a separate tutorial that shows how to take an asset through this process.